Like I'm just a nobody. That's just how I'll put it. It was. I mean, every day we fight. This I'm telling you, the river. Every day we fight.
Telling security to get him.
We argue. I mean, many things. I mean, it's a lot. For me to leave, for me to have left, rather. I mean, it was. It had gotten to the point I couldn't just bear it anymore. And people were saying, "Oh, I have another woman out there. I planned this, and I never planned anything."
There was a noticeable tension in the courtroom as Michael Eliseni and Angela, who are ex-spouses and 90-day fiancés, stars squared off in a court case that had reportedly been brewing for months. The eagerly awaited showdown ended with Michael emerging victorious. This was more than just a court case. It was her opportunity to make Michael suffer and humiliate him in front of the legal system, just as she had frequently attempted to do during their marriage. Angela clearly defeated Michael and his legal team, who were seen celebrating their victory after the judge ruled in his favor. From the beginning, it was evident that Angela's goals were to destroy Michael in any way possible. She had pursued several cases against him in the hopes of winning each one, but it appeared that things had finally turned around when the judge, who was aware of Angela's erratic behavior, refused to put up with any of her antics and gave Michael the victory, much to her dismay during their turbulent relationship. Whether it was regarding their money, their communication, or even Michael's freedom to interact with friends and family, Angela had always tried to be in charge. Michael had been patient and peaceful for years, but Angela had continuously used her loud, aggressive nature to take advantage of power in their marriage. When their marriage finally ended, Angela's behavior became more extreme, and it seemed that the more control she exercised, the more she wanted. She was determined to continue her campaign against Michael, this time using the legal system as her weapon. For Angela, regaining the power she felt she had lost was more important than winning money or fame. The courtroom provided the ideal setting for her to try to humiliate Michael and paint him as the villain, just as she had done many times during their marriage. But in this era in Nina, Angela was no longer in control, and the judge could not be intimidated by her typical tactics. Angela went into the courtroom with confidence, certain that she would win because she felt she had a valid reason for her conduct and that the judge would support her because of a story she had developed over the years. In contrast to the 90-day fiancé audience, who had endured years of Angela's outbursts and manipulations, Angela had gravely miscalculated. Having reviewed the evidence and being aware of Angela's past behavior, the judge was unwilling to entertain her attempts to shift blame or manipulate the situation. Angela had always portrayed herself as the one who had been wronged in her relationship with Michael, and she hoped to use that perception to her advantage. In the courtroom, information and facts were given greater weight than showmanship. As the case progressed, it became evident that Michael had the upper hand. His legal team had prepared a strong defense, presenting concrete evidence of Angela's abusive behavior and the financial and emotional toll it had taken on him. Meanwhile, Angela's accusations were weak at best and lacked the substance needed to sway the court in her favor. Despite her attempts to paint Michael as the problem, it was evident that the judge wasn't buying it. Angela's usual methods of intimidation and trying to control the narrative when the judge eventually delivered the verdict, Angela's aggravation increased as she became aware that the power dynamic in the courtroom was not what she had anticipated. The level of anxiety in the room peaked. Angela was left feeling defeated as the court acknowledged that her behavior during the legal proceedings and in her marriage was toxic and unjustified. She had lost control of the situation, and the consequences were evident. Angela had hoped for a sweeping victory, a ruling that would leave Michael humiliated and suffering. However, the judge ruled in favor of Michael. After bearing with Angela's domineering behavior for years, Michael, who had maintained his composure throughout the process, exhaled with pleasure that his marriage and the court case had finally ended with a decision in his favor. As the ruling was being read, Michael had achieved a crucial victory that validated his determination to escape Angela's control. Michael's attorney slapped him on the back, symbolizing their well-deserved victory. They had put in countless hours to build a strong case, and Michael benefited from more than simply a victory in court. It was a personal triumph for him since after years of abuse at the hands of Angela, he had not only set himself free from her dominance, but had done it with the full support of the legal system. While Michael and his attorneys celebrated their victory, Angela, on the other hand, appeared disheartened. Her attempts to reclaim control over Michael had failed miserably, and the judge's decision served as a harsh reminder that her deceitful strategies could only go her so far. Angela was left to grapple with the reality of her defeat. Her initial response to the verdict was one of shock and disbelief. She had been right all along and had anticipated that the court would see things her way, finding Michael to be the wrongdoer. Instead, she was revealed as the aggressor, pushing the bounds of acceptable behavior well beyond what anyone should tolerate her public behavior. The judge had seen through Angela's attempts to manipulate the situation and her refusal to take responsibility for her actions, leaving her without a leg to stand on. In the end, Angela's own behavior had been her downfall as she left the courtroom. Persona, who had always thrived on drama and conflict, was now working against her. It was clear that Angela was saddened by her situation. She had been so certain in her ability to win and hold Michael accountable for leaving her, but now she was the one bearing the brunt of her actions. For someone as arrogant as Angela, she suffered an emotional blow as well as a legal setback, leaving her feeling helpless and ashamed outside the courtroom. Michael enjoyed a private party with his attorney. Michael's victory was dignified and subdued. He had always been the calm, patient one in his relationship with Angela, and his actions now showed that same quiet strength for Michael. There were no grand shows of gloating or spitting in the wound. The victory was about more than just beating Angela in court. It was about taking back his life and his honor. Michael's lawyer, who played a crucial role in securing the victory, congratulated him on his resilience and determination. Together, they had faced a formidable opponent in Angela, but through careful planning, solid evidence, and unwavering patience, they had prevailed. Michael was finally able to move forward without the weight of his past relationship dragging him down for Angela. This legal victory marked the beginning of a new chapter in Michael's life. For years, he had endured Angela's abuse both emotionally and financially without complaining. Nevertheless, he had remained in the marriage for a much longer than most would have thought would change. The court's ruling had made it clear that her behavior would no longer be tolerated, and Angela was left to deal with the repercussions of her actions. She could no longer exercise the power she had once held over Michael or use the legal system as a tool to prolong their dispute. Angela had always thrived on control, so losing to Michael in such a clear and public manner was a depressing reality. Her court defeat was a wound to her ego that would not be easily healed for someone who had spent years establishing authority over her relationships. Although Angela had gone into the courtroom with the intention of winning both legally and emotionally to show Michael that she still had control over him, that illusion was dashed as she considered the court's decision. Her actions had caught up with her, and she was no longer able to use her fiery personality or her fame from reality TV as an excuse. In the eyes of the court, she was just another person who had crossed the line, and the consequences were evident. Angela's future was uncertain, but one thing was certain: her days of controlling Michael were over. Thank you for watching.